Ms. Mitchell.
Here. And I just want to note that we have spoken with Board Member Muman, and she is on her way. Before we say our Pledge of Allegiance, I do want to say thank you to all of you all that have attended tonight's meeting in person. It is so nice to see faces in the audience, so welcome. At this point in time, if you can join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty, at this point in time, can we please have a motion on the floor to approve item 1.3, the June 22nd, before we do that, I do want to ask, is there anything that needs to be removed from tonight's agenda or added to tonight's agenda?
No, we don't have anything. I do want to know, the documentary on the district that everyone was interviewed for, they're going to shoot some reels today. Come to the video. Savannah just informed me, just
Okay.
on the board meeting.
Okay, that'll work. All right, so with that, thank you. If we can please have a motion on the floor to approve item 1.3, the June 22nd, 2022 regular board meeting final agenda.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move item 1.3, the approval for tonight's agenda, June 22nd, 2022, regular board meeting.
Thank you, sir. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Good evening, Ms. Barbara.
How are you?
I'm good. And you? All right, at this time, if I can please have a motion on the floor to approve item 1.4, our meeting minutes for our May 11th, 2022 work session and our May 25th, 2022 regular meeting.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move item 1.4 on tonight's agenda, approval of the minutes, of the 2 minutes that you had discussed in the action motion.
Thank you so much. May I please have a second?
I second it.
Thank you. Before we go to vote, I just want to say, Dr. Rock, thank you so very much. We have truly appreciated the meeting minutes coming, the way they've been coming and how we're staying right up to date with our meeting minutes. So thank you.
Thank you.
At this point in time, can we please have a vote? Can you take the roll call for a vote?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I just wanted the
Dr.
vote.
Rock,
To vote.
Mrs.
Dr.
Gator,
Rock.
Gotcha. Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. We're at the point in our agenda where we have public participation. Mr. Jolly or Dr. Rock, do we have any cards today?
No, ma'am, we have not received any cards or email correspondence at all.
All right, well, I guess no news is good news. At this point, we're at 1.6, and we've got board reports. We've got a conference update from Member Ray Freeman and an update on the passing of House Bill 99 from Member Mimi Gator.
Mimi, would you want to go first?
I can, that's fine. Mine will be brief. It's going to be brief because I think we all know that House Bill 99 recently passed. It's the legislation that DeWine passed, which allows districts the option of having school staff to carry weapons. It's not a mandate. They leave the decision entirely up to the district. The bill also appropriates over $6 million for the remainder of the current budget cycle to expand the Ohio School Safety Center and to create a new OSSC Safety and Crisis Division. Basically, what the division is going to do is they're going to be responsible for training everybody to make sure that they know what's expected of them. Excuse me. So again, I just wanted to give a brief overview of the legislation. I did call Neola to find out where they were with policy on this. They said that there'll be an update coming out in August. It'll be policy 41.1. He said if we want to take a look at some of the policies in advance, we can, but they're going to completely review them and send them like they normally do. But for those board members who want to get ahead of it or, you know, better understand what policies we have out there, you can review the sections on weapons, student welfare, student mental health, video surveillance and electronic monitoring, school safety, and school resource officer. The other thing I wanted to share with the board is that OSBA is going to be conducting a town hall next week on this topic. It's free, starts at 5:30. You do have to register for it, though. You can register for it online. In looking around OSBA's website, I found where they have a podcast on this as well. So if you go on their website, you'll see that there's a podcast that discusses it as well. So that's really all I have, just a brief update and to let you guys know where we were with policies on this.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you for that update.
You're welcome.
This is
Thank
one
you.
we're definitely, all districts are going to be keeping a close eye on.
Yeah, from what I've seen, just in watching the news, the majority of the districts have already said that they are not going to be
Right.
arming their staff.
Yep.
Yeah, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
All right, thank you so much, Mimi. Ray?
Madam Chair, just to speak on Mimi's House Bill 99, I did talk to some surrounding districts, and you're right, Madam Chair, it's like 5 of the ones I talked to, they will not be moving forward with it. I mean, it'll be up to Superintendent Jolly and us, the board, to decide that, but Garfield, Orange, Chagrin, Cleveland Metropolitan, none of those districts, and those board members said they're moving forward with House Bill 99. Okay, my actually take, and I had called the board president just to go over some actual conferences that's happening. For 5 years, I've served with the National School Boards Association, Council of Urban Boards of Education, CUBE. Hearing every week that more and more state associations are actually withdrawing their membership with the National School Board Association. I don't know where that takes them in the future, but I know as far as the CUBE actual annual event that we always look forward to, and Mimi Gator and June Taylor introduced me to it in 2015. They're having an actual annual conference back down in Miami. I think all of us, even Dr. Rock, has attended one of the Miami conferences, and it's probably one of the better conferences. Would you think, Ms. Gator, as far as?
It was, yeah, I mean, look, I think that the majority of CUBE's conferences have been good. Some not as good as the others, but yeah, I do think that the programming in Miami was good.
Well, this one is going to be at the same hotel. It's at the Intercontinental, but they do have a higher price. Since we're no longer a member in Ohio, the actual price per register is $675, but that price only lasts until the early bird special of August 19th of 22. So I didn't know if anybody wanted to attend. I know some of the staff is still calling and asking me questions on if I wanted to attend. So I haven't made my final decision. I know we have till August 19th. I think it may be a good conference to attend. I looked at some of the actual presenters. I've seen like maybe 4 of the actual personal development sessions that will be held. But I just wanted to give you guys a copy. It should be some on top of your packages, just talking about it and so forth. Me and Dr. Rock know about it. Alicia has the information, so if you guys want to, you could talk to Dr. Rock if that's something that you want to do. But it's the CUBE annual conference. I know last year, me, board member Earl Darren Roberts, and Superintendent Donald J. Jolly, the second, went. We had a good time. I mean, I think this is the first time that Vice President Roberts went, and he learned a lot from it. There's a lot of actual different board members that go to something like a CUBE, and I just think it's a good event to go to. But I just wanted to give you guys some information, which you already probably seeing, or if they're still sending it, because when we got information last November, it said no Ohio district could attend a national school board event. So that changed in the end of March, and I guess with some of the associations jumping out of the national school boards, they opened it up for non-memberships, and that's why we have to pay an additional fee for being a register. But I know they're anticipating almost 400 this one. I don't know if they'll get it, but that's what their account is, 400 people to come to the Intercontinental in Miami. So is there any questions about the CUBE annual event?
I kind of spoke out loud, but 400 is not a lot of people, right? I mean, isn't it usually a lot more than that?
7.
So what are your thoughts? I mean, are you feeling like they're going to be able to pull off a conference similar to what they've done in the past?
That's a good question, Ms. Gator. I think it's going to be good. I mean, some of the staff is gone. Some of my good friends I made over 5 years, they're gone. Regina Jacobs is gone. Some of the other ones that put on the actual events are gone. So I think it'll still be a good conference, but will it be like we had in the past? I'm not sure. We have Makai Ali from Compton still acting as president of CUBE. And I know California pulled out in April, and Texas just pulled out in May. So some of those members will attend. I have heard from both California, Illinois, Florida, so they'll attend. I just don't know how well it'll be presented to the actual members for personal development.
Okay.
Any other questions on CUBE?
I guess I have a question for the board. Is anybody from our board thinking about going so we can put it on the board agenda for approval?
I'm thinking about it, Madam Chair. I'm thinking about it.
So we need to put it on the July agenda.
Put it on. I'm not sure if I'm going to go. I'm really on the fence about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure how much value it will really bring to us, but we'll have to see.
If you can still get in, I would look at some of the presenters. I looked at them for the last 2 months, and I mean, some of the sessions are good, and I know how, Tracy, you always do the tracking. So the tracks look good for you if you're looking at different tracks. That does look good. I was never a track dude, but
Well, even the breakout sessions that they have listed, I mean, to me, sound pretty interesting. But I guess it depends on if we, look, I'm going to remain positive. I'm going to give it some thought. We'll see.
I'm with you, Mimi.
Yeah.
Yeah, Madam Chair, our Treasurer, CFO, as Dr. Ruckert put it on there, we don't have to go. Your thoughts, Mr. Roberts, I know we talked about it briefly on the CUBE. I know we haven't spent a lot for travel, and I know when I talked to Mr. Roberts, he said that might be something that we could consider. Any thoughts on this CUBE annual, Mr. Roberts?
Not this time, Spring. I'll make a decision. I'll look at, and go over the information to make a decision by our next meeting.
And they have everything online, correct?
They
Yeah.
do. I don't know if you can still get in it. I don't know. If you can get in, if not, let me know and I'll get us in it. Because Kanisha Williams, who's in charge of CUBE, she can make that. So sometimes I couldn't get in, but now I can. So
Okay.
can't get on there if you're not getting emails. Let me know and I probably can get a hold of somebody.
Okay, thank you. So what we'll do, Dr. Rock, Mr. Jolly, we'll go ahead and put it on the agenda for full discussion at our July meeting, and we'll move forward from there. And then, Mr. Freeman, you were going to update us on the consortium of state school board associations.
Yeah, COSBA, I want to thank the board for letting me go. I didn't think that it was going to be as more important as it is. In the last 2 months, I got inundated over 100 board members across the United States of America. And now I think everybody coming to the realization that maybe a National School Boards Association will not be around. So all the states are pushing it, all the executive directors of each state association that's with us, and that's 23 right now. They're pushing it to their actual board members, and I know in Ohio, we like at 615 different districts. So the push is going out next week. I think it's next Wednesday from Kathy Swoop, who is our transformational provider. She used to be the executive director in Pennsylvania 4 years ago. So the 22 that's part of the COSBA now, or Consortium of a State School Boards Association, they will have a push that goes out. We're going live. One thing good about this is that Ohio directed the actual link to pay and to go on and make registries. So working with them last 2 weeks ago, they're putting all that together. So it should be able to go live next Friday, I believe. And you can go onto the link and you can review, and it'll show you some of the speakers. It'll show you the advisors, which I'm one of 7 advisors on this Urban Boards Alliance. So the UBA is the Urban Boards Alliance. It's almost similar. We don't want to call it Cube 2.0, but it's actually mostly a cube because I have about 4 of my actual ex-members that was on the national with me. So if you look, it says save the date, and the date is September 8th and 9th, 2022, down at the Omni Hotel, Centennial Park or CNN Center. It's in Atlanta, Georgia, downtown. So we're going to have a symposium, and it's going to be a day and a half of good speakers, of urban speakers, of people who's doing the work and actual people doing the work, not retired people, nothing like that. I mean, these are doctors of education and so forth. So we went and gathered the best speakers we could under a 60-day window. But this is a actual symposium. I would like the board members, if they have the time, to go to something like this, because this is our first kickoff. This is the inaugural. This will actually let us know where we're going in these 22 or 23 state associations. But we have it all planned out. There's a lot of things to do. We do have a conference reception after Thursday, because Thursday we'll start at 1 o'clock. So it'll go 1 to 5:15, and then after 5:15 we'll have an actual meet and greet at the hotel. And then now they're trying to set up something at the Civil Rights or the Martin Luther King amusement. So they're trying to set up something like that we can do like at 7 o'clock. It's another meet and greet. And I've been in contact with 3 vendors that wants to do something and actually sponsor something for all the members. And our goal is 300. So our participation on Urban Boards Alliance is 300. And then it's actually $425 a register. So we came up with that. I was trying to get lower than $425, but that's what we came to make a little penny on it. We're not making much, but it's $425 a register. And there's no early bird. You can register actually up to almost the day of. So you can register up to September 7th. If we would want you to do it earlier, or when registration opens up July 1st, it's $425. The hotel will be the Omni. The Omni price is $199 a night for that hotel. And, you would have to get your own airfare and so forth. But this is something that it's a lot of work that we've been doing, and we meet 4 times a month and hold Zoom calls. But I'm liking where this is going. And like when you ask me, Ms. Gator, what do I feel? I feel excited about this because this is something new off the ground, and this is something that's now it's gaining that word of mouth, especially in Illinois and Arizona too. But I think it'll be good. I think we'll be over 300 after. I think within the first month we may have our goal met in July for Urban Boards Alliance. And that's it, Madam Chair. Anybody have any questions about the COSBA or Urban Boards Alliance?
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All righty. So again, we'll put both on the agenda for July, and then we can discuss at the time as a board. Who thinks?
We're one of the featured districts in at the Model Schools Conference. Mm-hmm. So as you can see, there's 8 districts that'll be represented, and Warrensville Heights is one of the 8 districts. So this is I know that Westwood, Mrs. Boynton is here. Westwood presented at the Model Schools, I think about 3 years ago. It's before COVID. But this is the first time our district, the district in whole, has presented. Our team next slide. The team, Ms. Thompson is here. She'll be part of our team. Ms. Hunt, Ms. Lozar, and myself. What I did see is we had 3 sessions. That's a lot, kind of more than what I saw other districts have. So, and basically what we're doing is just telling our story. We're going to talk about the political aspects of when we first started, the Return to Excellence Plan, all the things that went into building what we've done here over these last 7 years. I'll talk about our data levers. But in essence, just how we develop a system of understanding what kids need to know, how we know if they know it, and what we're going to do about it if they don't know it. I think that's the fundamental foundation of the work that we do. Really understanding what's expected, creating a system to understand if they know it or not, and then what is our actions from that. And from that, our presentation, we have various different people. All four people have different parts of that presentation. Next slide, Jonathan. Just want to give just a brief on the construction. This is the latest picture from about 4 o'clock today. This is the behind the building. Those classrooms that you see with the glass are full glass classrooms. That's the back of the building that you see from 1 Center Road. Next slide, John. And then this is the front of the building. So you see that it's hidden by the old school, so you can't see it. I'll go back there and see it. But it's coming up, and you see right here, that's the office area. The updates on Mount Zion, we just recently got the contract to start the construction. So they're right now finishing the drawings, and they're bidding out the contracts. So we anticipate that we'll start on Mount Zion in August. We'll start in August with the construction of Mount Zion. This project is on time. Mr. Freeman attended the last meeting. It's on time. There are some challenges. We recently just got the contract for the field. So Affinity just found the company that's going to construct the field. So we should have some things coming to the board in July in reference to the athletic field. But the school part is on schedule. The windows should be coming in any day, so they should be erecting the windows. In the inside, they are currently framing, so they are totally framing it up in the inside, and they're putting drywall. So on the second floor, there's drywall already going up. Third floor is going up, and then the first floor, they're drywalling the whole thing. So I do encourage the board, when available, to come and take a look at the progress. There's tremendous progress going on there. On the middle school, they've already connected to the building, so the building is connected. But they have not started constructing that part, though, the brick part and the framing. So that's coming next. We've prepared the science wing for them to take it over. So on tonight's agenda, we have the trailers for the high school on there. And also we have to do an auction for some of the materials in the science room, some of the things in the science area that we don't need to move to the other parts of the building. So that construction is on its way. And then Eastwood has been totally demoed. Now we're just waiting on them to plant the grass. So it's flattened, and we're waiting on the grass. And then Westwood, again, we're still on a countdown for Westwood. What's going to happen at Westwood. So that is the construction update. Again, a lot is going on with the construction. That's a picture of the front of the building right there. Just go back one more time. All right, yeah, so that's the front. We move over, it'll be the entrance, but that's what people are going to see when they go to the high school. They'll see that part.
So if I can ask a real quick question, how much further back from Northfield will this entrance be from our current entrance?
So it'll be right where our current cafeteria is. Where the current cafeteria is, that would be turnaround. Okay. Right where the cafeteria is. But if you, like any teacher, get a classroom where those windows are, they have full glass classroom. I mean, when you go up there, it's phenomenal. And you see.
So will they have the automatic blinds?
They will have a blind system. I'm pretty sure it would be. I don't know if it would be automatically, but they'll have a blind system. They will. Not sure exactly what that system is going to look like at this time. But they're, and Jonathan's worked with us on the technology. So the technology will be identical to what's at the elementary school. Pretty much the same technology. The gym, I don't have a picture of the gym, but the gym floor, both gyms floors are already down. And both gyms they're putting up the lights in both gyms at this time. The cafeteria is like the main lobby. They have not started that yet because they need access to the gyms, because the cafeteria sits in front of both gyms. So they're still haven't closed in the cafeteria part yet. The middle school cafeteria part is closed in, though, which is on the other side of the building. So are there any questions about the construction? Again, would encourage we'll do individual tours whenever people are available. We'll make ourselves available to take you there. You see it. In probably about an hour's time, it would take to see the whole thing. And that part that you see is the high school. That is the high school. The middle school is connected to the old building, which is completely on the other side of the building. All right, next up. Mr. Lorette, you can come up now. So we want to have this discussion about House Bill 99 and the threats to our schools. And you can see this list is the mass shootings the last 10 years. But one in particular really caught my attention, and that's the May 14th Buffalo, New York shooting. In that shooting, there was a deliberate act to come to an area and shoot African American people. I mean, that was documented. It was very known that the young person scouted out the community and chose the community. That was very alarming to me because, you know, in the newspaper probably about a couple months ago, it identified our district as, and our city as the most populated African American city and school district in the state of Ohio. I mean, we were identifying Cleveland, Plain Dealer as that. With that understanding and just understanding and looking at the world, it was very concerning to me that if anybody came to any of our buildings, that we don't have any protection at all for our staff, for our students and everything. I am not a gun advocate. I do not believe in guns. I don't like carrying guns. I don't like being around guns. But understanding that our students, I know all of you guys have kids in the school. I got nieces, nephews, relatives, all kind of people in the schools. Our community, got teachers in the schools. And to witness what happened in Buffalo and us not have a conversation about what we can do and us to take some type of proactive stance. Now, our new building is designed to protect us from intruders. We have numerous ways to keep people in, keep people out. But the John Dewey doesn't. It's, you know, old school. It doesn't have those protections. And also the high school has over 21 doors on the first floor. Almost impossible to monitor all 21 doors every single day. So with that, I want to bring Mr. Lorette up to share some of his thoughts and ideas about safety and security, and then and us moving forward. On tonight's agenda, we did decide to get some of our officers trained in the event that the board does authorize that we can have people carrying guns. We also have some other alternatives that we can do to have armed people in the buildings. There's some options that we can bring to the board to consider. But we really want to hear your feedback about this. This is very hard. I mean, who would think that we would have to get to this point where we have to be proactive? But Buffalo was real. The person drove over 2 hours to identify a group of people, and it would be very naive to think that what couldn't happen here. And that is my concern. That was very chilling to see what happened. You know, even in Texas, you know, when people are sick and ill, they don't care about anybody. And for me, I had to bring some type of solution to the table that I believe, or bring things to the table that the board can consider. Mr. Lorette.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Just want to share, just what I've learned over many years that I've been in law enforcement, what I've seen, what has happened in school districts as well. I stay up on all the training. I'm very fast on new information on what is needed in school safety. But we can train all day long. We can go to so many conferences. We can have staff burst, and this is what you do in case of an active shooter. But we prepare for the day that we never want to happen. When it actually that gunfire, starts to fire, then the training is supposed to kick in effect. But the reality, and it was really brought to attention of Aldi, where you had 19 officers that was there a minute within the gunmen coming into the scene and they didn't respond. So that's not the training of today. Yesteryear, it was, yes, you wait for your team, get together, you go in as a unit. About 8 years ago, after Columbine and a couple other shootings, they went to, if you are the first responder, then you are going alone. No matter what, you are trained to do this. They dropped the ball on that, and hence a lot of babies were killed, a lot of staff was killed. So I'm with Mr. Jolly as far as been an officer 27 years, so I do carry a weapon. I do believe in firearms for protection in my line of field, but everybody can't carry a weapon. House Bill 99, I'm against that. Teachers should not be armed. That's not what they're trained to do. They're trained to teach in the classroom. Security officers, that's a different animal. You're looking at officers that go through the private security training, which is OPATA certified, but they also can go through the 20-hour firearms training course, in which I've got my staff going through now. The actual class, first class started today. It's 4 days, 5 hours each day. Myself and 3 of my officers are attending training. What to gain from this training is not to say that these are the officers that may be placed into our buildings if it's approved, but it gives me an opportunity, the instructors an opportunity to see who can possess a firearm comfortably. The training that they're going to receive teaches them how to disarm a weapon. In case a student brings in a weapon into the building, they know how to disarm it, carefully. People in the world have general belief that first responders are police and fire. That is not true. First responders are the security officers that are in the building. When that gunfire goes off, they're not to run out with the children. They're to run to the area of the threat. It's the nature of the beast, of the position that, we pretty much swore to protect and serve. They're not police officers. I get that. But the training that I am putting them through gives them the tools to know how to manage that weapon. I know the fear is, well, you're in the building and the students, what's that on your hip? Can I see your gun? Can I play with your gun? If there's a fight, they're breaking up a fight, can a student get to their weapon? That is affecting with the police in the world today. You're trained to protect your weapon. You're trained to know how to prevent those individuals from getting at your weapon. And you're trained on when to shoot and when not to shoot. The training that they're receiving has a lot of base scenarios on shoot, don't shoot. They'll go through a lot of threat assessment training. And I'm big on training. Coming into this district, I did stress one of my questions to Mr. Jolly and those that interviewed me was, how much professional development can I give my staff? I don't like the 1 day out of the year. I'm very big on training. I'm very big on continuous training. One thing that I learned today with my staff that I took to the training, after the training, they went to the range. They started practicing on their own. So that shows me that they want to get better at what they're learning to do. My goal is to have 2 armed security officers in the high school and 1 in the elementary school and 1 in the middle school. One person questioned as to why the elementary school. They're babies. Well, we have to look at what just happened to our babies. The last 2 incidents, Sandy Hook in Texas, was elementary school. The shooter, he's not thinking about the age. He's thinking about taking lives and as many as possible. Can you save everybody if this happens? I hope we could. That's the goal. But to wait multiple minutes for the police to arrive and then go in, we're wasting valuable time. So my hope is that you would approve this. The parties that are going to, the security officers that are going to the training, they will be interviewed. There will be psychological interview questions asked. And again, everybody cannot, because they're going through the training, not mean they will be qualified to be that person in our building. Again, the training gives me an opportunity, gives the instructors an opportunity to make that decision on their hours and its range hours. So they have to pass every aspect of that. OPATA certified Ohio Peace Officer Training Academy, so we'll be buying it by state. This is not part of House Bill 99. This actually has been in effect that security officers can carry since like 2016. So it's been around. School districts in our area that carry, East Cleveland, Parma, and CMSD. So we will be getting calls from the media as to why are you deciding to do this now. I'm prepared to provide you all with those answers when needed, but it's my belief that this is where we need to move to. Do you have any questions for me?
You
No,
actually,
I have
I'm sorry, you
a quick
actually answered.
question.
Go ahead.
Mr. Doe, I would like to know, are all of our staff on board but not carrying away? And the reason why I ask that is because sometimes people listen and say, oh, well, the governors have given us permission.
Yeah, so we did, Jonathan, go to the next slide. We did a poll. We didn't ask staff if they want to carry guns. We did not ask staff that. But Jonathan, you go to the next couple slides. We did do a safety survey. So before I want to bring this to the table, we did a safety survey. So in that survey was 264 respondents. It was open for 1 week. So this is the status of safety in the district. So 93% thought metal detectors were necessary. Go to the next one, Jonathan. Lockdown drills, 93%, but we won't get to the gun question at the end. Go to the next one. Security cameras, next one. And it's a mixture of parents and staff members. So in that one, 73% of the respondents felt that having an armed security guard would be useful.
Okay.
We did not poll the staff if they were willing to carry a weapon. I'm pretty sure some people would want to carry a weapon if given that option. But I think just based on our experiences, people's temperament, situations where people sometimes lose control of their emotions, I would not advise we give untrained staff members guns. I think that would really, really, really be dangerous. Even if they want to carry it, I don't think it would be a good policy to do that.
But we still have a policy in effect that they cannot bring a weapon
Yes,
on
ma'am.
our campus.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I just want clarity.
Yes, ma'am.
And the board will have to create a policy if we go to armed security officers. I do have, and I can share that with you, the policies from a couple other districts that we can model from. That is, state regulated and within the confines of the ORC.
If I can ask my question. So how many hours is the training, the security officer training now? And then how many modules do they have to continue to go through for continuing ed?
Oh, it's 20 hours initially, 15 classroom, 5 hours of firearms on the range. What I want to add to that is psychological critical incident training, de-escalation techniques, crisis intervention. There's a course I want to send my staff through, the history and pattern of school shootings, tactics of responding to critical incidents in schools. So I have a lot that I have in store. This is not just 20 hours and we stop right there. It's continuous.
And the reason I'm asking, I was married to a law enforcement officer, so I know the training that he had to go through when he came through the police academy and his ongoing PD. So my other question is psychological training, because are those proctored? I mean, I'm sorry, not the training, the testing. Is it proctored testing, or is it, I guess my question should be, how is that testing conducted and who is it conducted by?
So it's conducted by the OPATA certified instructors that will do the testing. Again, they have to pass every aspect, the written exam and the firearm exam. So additionally to that, there's additional training that I would like to put them through. Like I said, the psychological, we want to provide them with some outside company that will come in to give that training, just like they would do a regular police officer. See if this person is qualified to be on the streets, to be in the community with a weapon. So we're going to put them through the same training that police officers go through for the psychological.
Thank you. That was my question. Thank you.
So this is separate from what they'll have to do with House Bill 99, though.
This is not House Bill 99.
This is completely separate. They'll still have to do the training that's mandated by House Bill 99, though, correct?
No. So House Bill 99 training is similar. It's just 5 hours more. So it's 25 hours that the governor is requiring for them to train 20 hours classroom, 5 hours on the range. So it's basically the same training, but it's not the same House bill. It's not the same ORC. This ORC code has been in effect, like I said, since 2016, that specifies any designated officer, security officer, or member by the board is obligated to carry a firearm in the school.
Correct. But they will still have to do the training that the state is mandating now that House Bill 99 is passed, correct?
No.
I mean, why wouldn't they have to?
There's two separate. It's the
So
same thing, but it's,
can you tell what the difference? Because that's what you want to know. What's the
Right, for
difference?
teachers and
Is
security.
that what you're
there's
trying
no
to?
difference.
Well, I don't know that I'm asking
Yeah.
if there's a difference. I mean, if the governor is mandating that employees have to go through this training, I guess that would be a question to ask. If we have a program that's similar to what they're doing at a state level, because he's assembling, a whole team throughout 16 different areas within the state to provide this training in order for staff. Well, and that's for staff, but even for security to be armed.
So this is at the state level. This was just before House Bill 99. So House Bill 99, the difference is this allows teachers and staff. Security was already in effect. So they're piggybacking off of what was already in effect for private
okay,
security.
so you're saying this is just House Bill 99 is just, well, but security is staff.
Right, but he's saying
It's
it's secure. House Bill 99 opens it up for both staff and security officers. This training that the chief is speaking of is only for security officers. No staff can go through that training.
So so I think I understand. So basically, what Mr. Russ is saying is that this was already in effect before House Bill 99. So House Bill 99 then provided people who didn't have anything to do with security opportunity to get trained security guns. So what we would have to do is just make sure legally that what he's doing is aligned to what the mayor is
Thank
saying.
you. That's
So so what we would do is take the training that he's putting the guys through, have our legal team just make sure it's aligned. And if it's aligned, it's aligned. If it's not aligned, then we would have to add whatever to do to get it aligned.
they'll have to do the
That
training
would be
that
our
the state is.
that would be our process is take what they're going through, have our legal team just make sure it's aligned to what House Bill 99 is.
Madam Chair, one more question. So the final decision in terms of which staff members, which of your staff members will be able to carry a weapon, will that be you, or will it be based on how well they do with the testing and the training that you're doing?
It'll be myself along with, it hasn't been determined yet who will interview.
But
with
you
them.
will likely have, you and a team of people will
Correct.
have the final say on whether or not A, B, C all get to do it, or if it's just going to be one or two people.
Correct. And it might not be the three that are
Gotcha.
going. One thing that I did, I presented it to all security teams, the 11 that I had, and 6 was interested. 5 didn't want it. And out of the 6 that was interested, 2 are no longer here. So I had 4, but because of summer school staff, I can only bring 3. So I'm training those who had the desire to want to do it.
Thank you.
And also, when we Mr. Retz and I discussed this, we looked at 3 options. So we always been talking to the city about an SRO. The city doesn't have the resources to provide us one. We've been asking for one since 2018. The board passed resolution for SRO, and that was it. So the city is aware that we are interested in an SRO. It's just do they have the ability to provide one?
So in my past school district I was in, same problem. They had the officers, but they did not want to have an SRO. So what we did was literally for 10 years until they finally have an SRO now. This is Cleveland Heights I'm referring to. 10 years prior to that, I hired an off-duty officer to work the 8-hour shift. And it wasn't the same officer every day, but we had an armed officer in the building every day. So I presented that to the chief, and it might be a good thing. It's just a matter of getting those officers to want to take that extra duty job.
Right, so that was the third option we have is to hire off duty.
Right.
I think he did the numbers on it, about 60,000 something.
I don't think it was that much. But
Yeah, like 54, 50, 60,000. So we worked the numbers on that too. So at this point, you know, I think our recommendation to the board would be to move forward with our guys and continue to try to work those other avenues if possible. And at the July meeting, we'll bring a formal recommendation to the board.
Right. Training will be complete. I can tell you where we're at as far as how they tested, the instructors' feedback on how they did, my feedback on what I saw. Move from there. Awesome.
Mr. Ruratz, I do have a question for you. I have some good friends in Cleveland Metropolitan, and they do carry weapons, the SROs. Do they need anything additional, or did you guys have a policy for Cleveland Heights? I don't think Cleveland Metropolitan do, but I know they have 4 actual trained, and they're actual members of Cleveland on their staff for security.
You talk about the armed portion of CMSD.
Mm-hmm.
So they have, they didn't put their officers through any type of police academy. So their officers on that force that security, but they have the sheriff's department backing keep their commission going in order for them to carry. So that option can be here as well. Warrensville chief could give me the permission to be a commissioned officer, and that way I'll have my commission that way. But my commission lapsed. This is why I'm going through the training with my guys right now. But they have to do the same thing that we would do.
But the gentlemen I'm mentioning, they're already armed. I mean, they're in the buildings. They have guns.
Correct, but not all of them are actual police officers. They didn't go through the whole 124-hour pilot course. They might have just did what we're doing now, 20 hours.
I got you. Okay. Thank you.
I have one final question. Who holds the commission? The local municipality or the state?
It depends. Like my commission, I just let it go. My commission was through Cuyahoga County, the deputy sheriff. They made changes that a lot of deputy sheriffs didn't want to do, which is working in the prison, things of that nature. So a lot of us resigned. So you have a year to get that commission going again, but it's any department.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for the information.
So that concludes my report. Oh, I'll go back, John. There's a couple of dates. I just wanted to go over some important dates. Model schools, August 1st, everyone, the administration returns back to work. You remember last year we tried to do the district barbecue, but it kept raining. We're going to try it again this year. It rained twice on us, so we're going to try it again, though. We have a lot of new staff you see today on the agenda. We want everybody to meet the new staff. We have new security guards. We have new custodians. We have a lot of new people, so we want everyone to meet our staff and people. We're going to do it at the elementary school, Ms. Thompson, so this is her first time hearing about it, but we just put it together today. New teacher orientation, August 10th to 11th. And then a convocation, August 12th. Our speaker this year is Ariane Kirkpatrick. So she'll be our speaker on honor, AKA construction and other ventures that she has. And the first day of school is August 17th. So I just want to get that on everybody's calendar so everyone's aware of what's going on coming up. And we'll be working very hard this whole month. There's a lot of changes. Change is good, and we're going through a process of changing and bringing new leaders and developing new people for great roles in our district. So that concludes my report. Yes, ma'am.
Are we doing a back to school fair?
I'm sorry. The back to school fair is August 6th. Participating in home days. Yes, ma'am. I do not have the dates on home days, though.
It's August 20th and 21st.
2021.
2020.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the
It's every
dates.
second weekend in August.
It's a Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. All right.
Number table.
Okay, yeah, we are participating in home days. I just don't have the dates. That came last week, so we'll make sure that we get those on.
That's the
everybody.
20th and 21st.
So what are the dates?
The 20th and 21st of August.
Those are the dates.
Thank you.
All right. Dr. Rock, I guess the agenda is in your hand. We are at item 1.8.
Thank you. For each board member and Mr. Jolly, I put a blue or a yellow folder. All folders have the same information. Are coded blue and folder orange. Next slide. So tonight we have the year-end close. 43 funds. We have over 8,000 accounts. All the funds have positive ending cash balance. Year-end appropriation rate at 30,002. Budget for the final days of the year. So this is where the part of the year where we have to have that meeting as close as possible to the last day of June in order to capture everything we could. And that's why I brought the reports in today. It was pretty challenging. So everything's in, everything's balanced. The Ohio State Auditor requires that year-end appropriation by that last board meeting, which is before June 30th. Next slide. So for this year, our year-end appropriations do not exceed certified resources. That's what's required. And also we utilize advances and operating transfers. Advances are when the general fund loans money to other funds with the anticipation that that other fund is just going to have revenue coming in and pay back that revenue. So in other words, it's a timing. At the end of the year, a fund may be negative. General fund loans it money, so it's positive, and then in July, when that money comes in, it just brings the money back right to the account. Operating transfers are a little bit different. Operating transfers are used for funds that do not have an expected revenue or anticipated revenue stream. The common ones for us are recreation and athletic fund. The athletic fund, they just try to sell enough tickets enough to self-sufficient. In that category, we're very fortunate that food services is self-sufficient, doesn't need a transfer. If you poll some school districts, that's a common one where it's a common transfer. It's usually one of the bigger transfers. So we're fortunate we don't have that. A little bit that goes out for recreation, some for athletic. Upcoming agreement for recreation, so we'll have some more revenue coming in from that. And then the last one is per the OFCC in our construction fund. Our PI fund takes 1/2 of a mil and transfers it into this 034 maintenance fund, and that lasts for the whole time that we have bond financing building. And what that does is that builds up some money in the maintenance fund that could be used for future expenses, for future maintenance and repairs to the new building. So that fund is just accumulating to the tune of about $200,000 a year. Accumulating. About now we're approaching $1,000. So it's sitting there, so down in the road in the future, we need some substantial maintenance or repairs to the new buildings we'll have, and the state of Ohio requires. Next slide. So the year-end advances, they're up this year, and it's mainly because of the magnitude of the ESSER funds, $14 million. For ESSER 2 alone, we had a PCR. That's a project cash request of $4.5 million. I'm happy to report that it just came in today. So we got the money, but the reports were already done. So we still have that advance that goes into the ESSERs, and then in July that'll be paid back. We're sitting on the $4.5 million from ESSER 2, which pretty much completes ESSER 2, number one. Number two, it shows the acceptance of our ESSER spending plan that we have board approved last month, which is very good, because now that flows into ESSER 3. So the ESSER 3 funds, which is to the tune of about $10.2 million that we have, that's being used. We used that this year, so there's going to be a request for money of that in the new school year. So the advances were high on that end. There's an intra fund transfer within the general fund. Intra means it's just specific cost centers. So we have specific cost centers set aside for our 2017 financing. And this way, those numbers pop. They show up by themselves and we can see those. And those are our 2017 COPS financing, which was the financing realm for the elementary first financing. So that money spent out of there, but then what I do is I move cash from our regular general fund to that within the general fund, so it just zeroes it out, but it's a line item that makes everything zero out. So that's the one transfer there. That's intra. Construction funds 004 and 010 had some transfers between each other. Sort of the same concept where when all of our proceeds came in, we didn't know what was going to be spent in the 010 and the 004. And the 004 is LFI and 010 is all the state funding. And on the state funding side, you have two arms that fall off of that also. You have the OFCC amount where they're giving us $12 million on phase 2. And then you have our base amount that we pay for. So that covers the allocation between those two funds, the interaction between that. There's also an advance for the 010 fund, and that's with the anticipated state funding that's starting to hit us, because that lags in timing. And then the ESSER advances, again, of $8.3 million. 4.5 is already on our books. We collected it today. Next slide. So then temporary appropriations, these are used to allow us to have spending between July and September 30th, and while we actually work on the new permanent appropriations for the next year in September 30th. So these are like temporaries that allows us to spend during that time. Next slide. Insurance coverage. We have an insurance renewal that's up, it's on the board agenda tonight. The Ohio School Plan and Travelers. These are the two plans that we utilize. When you add the two together, you have $132,000 for the Ohio School Plan and $37,000 for Travelers. The Ohio School Plan covers the majority of the coverage with the umbrella coverage, property, auto, and all those different components. Travelers is used for cyber and theft. Now, Travelers insurance, or I should say the cyber coverage, has gone up exponentially. And that's just because of all these risks with wars out there, pandemics. Cyber's, with the cyber threats through where they steal your digital information and data. So that coverage really went up. Now, our total bill only went up 4%, but the cyber coverage went up $22,000. Luckily, we had savings on some other components. So when the dust settles, when it's all done, it only went up 4%. Which really isn't bad because that's equivalent to inflationary, so I was very happy with it only going up 4%. And if we go back 5 years ago, we were paying $268,000, which is $100,000 more in total than what we're paying now. So we have a good historical history that we're establishing here with savings. Next slide, please. And then also on the agenda tonight is the Bureau of Workers' Comp Retro Group. And on these, the enrollment, we pay a cost for the enrollment, and then you have targeted savings. They outperform themselves every time that we've signed up for them, and it pretty much accumulates too. So like this group will last for years. But so in year one of savings, there's targeted savings of almost $32,000, and it costs us $10,000. So it's a good deal, and it's the alternative that we have since we're not eligible for a group plan, a regular group plan. So the retro ones, at least it gives us a chance to get some savings. So this has historically been working very well for us. Next slide. And then two other agenda items tonight is the real estate appraisal for a real estate case that we discussed before. That finally came through. And then the illuminating company project for electrical services for temporary trailers at the high school. This one's an emergency because we just found out today that in order to get that done, there's a 6 to 8 week turnaround. And if we delay that 6 to 8 weeks from now, we start approaching August 17th, which is the first day of school and all of that. So, and we want to have these the trailers in action and ready to go for the beginning of the school year. So we're up against the timeline on that one, so that's why we had to bring that one. And then there we go. The next one is the school finance tour. That's what I'm calling this section. We are coming to your town. Last night we had our first performance. So I'm going around to the three villages or three cities of the district and presenting just a brief update on our financial update and the financial picture of the school district. And I think it was very successful last night at the Warrensville City Council meeting. North Randall, I think I have these dates correct, but the North Randall I'm planning on going June 27th, and that's on a Monday. And then Highland Hills is I'm pretty sure that's a Wednesday. Mm-hmm. It is a Wednesday because it's 1 week before my birthday.
All right.
So we'll celebrate my birthday on the board meeting in July. And then the reason that I put one team, one vision, one goal, which it just works great, but when presenting last night was, first of all, it's a pleasure just to present all the great things that we're doing here. And it's easy to get up there when we have all of these things working, but it takes the work of everybody, all the staff, all the community, everybody has to work together. Right. And at the end, they congratulated me for a good presentation. And my only response was, well, it's a pleasure. Thank you for adopting me into your school community. You give me the support to do things. But I said, in the end, it still comes back to one team, one vision, one goal with, everybody working together, the school community, the city, and the school district. So I just had to write that down. And then I asked Mr. Jolly if I have to pay him a copy for every time that I say that. And then that completes my section.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rock. I do want to kind of echo the comments made by council persons and the mayor last night. You did a really great job at the presentation. It was proud to see you represent our district.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your update. As we move into section 2, this is where we'll have opportunity once we put the motion on the floor to ask any additional questions about the items on this portion of the agenda that were covered in his update. So at this time, can we please have a motion to approve by consent agenda Treasurer's report and financial recommendations for items 2.1 through 2.7?
Madam Chair, I move that we accept as a consent agenda Treasurer's recommendations, items 2.1 through 2.7.
Thank you, ma'am. May I have a second?
A second.
Thank you, ma'am. At this point, the floor is open for any questions or additional discussion on any of the items in this section.
I would just like to thank the board for, I know 2.7 came late, but we just received this, and this is in reference to the high school trailers, the illuminating company. We found out that the high school could not support the trailers. Jonathan, again, through his hard work and diligence, we were able to get the electrical system set up for the trailers, but we don't have enough power, so we have to go to the illuminating company to connect to the pole. So this is the fee for connecting to the pole, and we have a strict deadline trying to get this done before August 1st. So I appreciate the board considering this at a late notice. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And we were lucky that we were meeting tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
Pure luck.
Right. Any questions, comments? All right, hearing none, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, board. At this time, we're going to move on to section 3 on the agenda. And if we can please have a motion to approve superintendent's recommendations and presentations for board action and administrative staff. That's going to cover items 3.1 through 3.9.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
Madam Chair, I move item number 3 on tonight's agenda. The superintendent's recommendations and presentation for board action administrative staff, looking for items 3.1 through 3.9.
Thank you. May I have a second?
A second.
Thank you. All right, at this time, the floor is open for any discussion.
Yeah, so I'll like to highlight a few things in this section. 3.1 in particular, 3.1 just like to congratulate the three individuals who are resigning. Dr. Valencia Thomas is moving to Columbus to be a middle school principal in Columbus. Dr. Richard Reynolds, let's give him a round of applause, who's serving as the new superintendent of Garfield's city schools.
Yes, sir.
And also Miss Paula Shaw, she'll be moving to the Westlake School District as an AP. The 3.2 is Miss Vicky Sorrell. I don't think I announced this, but she's going to Maple to be the middle school principal at Maple Heights High School, Maple Heights City School District. So you can see our people are leaving us, taking leadership roles in other districts. But what that does is it just provides more opportunity for us to grow our leaders. The TSL grant that we passed is a leadership development program and process for us to develop people from within to take on these roles. I think one of the charges when I became the superintendent was that we had a pipeline for people internally to move up. So I think this agenda and other agendas have proven that we have looked within to bring in, to promote our own, and also in some cases to bring people back who served with us in the past. So the first one is 3.3. We do have Miss Tebby Dickerson here. She is part of our TSL grant, and she will move from a fourth grade teacher to a math specialist, which she'll be a coach and help our staff. So let's give Miss Dickerson a round of applause for taking the step. That's an internal move also. Also, the next recommendation, 3.4, is Miss LaWanda Shelley Brown. She's a high school social studies teacher. She'll be moving to a AP at the middle school. So she'll be moving to middle school AP. She went through the interview process and was promoted. The next one is Miss Shanita Hickman. Miss Shanita Hickman has served as a loyal bus driver for our district, also served as the dispatcher. And at the retirement of Miss Elaine Callahan, Miss Hickman has rose to the occasion and will be taking over as the new supervisor of transportation. Next move is another internal promotion, moving our middle school principal, Miss Lisa Harris, to the director of operations. She'll be taking over from Dr. Reynolds. One of the reasons why I think it is very important to have a principal in that role, because they know all the functions of operations, because as a school, central office primary job is to serve the schools, is to support the schools and give the schools what they need. And I found that in my experience is that when you have a principal that's in a leadership role like that, they know how to support the schools. They know how a bus late affects the bus late. They know how if food service is not producing, they know the effects on the school. So I believe that Ms. Harris in this role will ensure that our schools have what they need to be successful, to give them the customer service necessary. She does have support with supervisors as Mr. McDonald for facilities and Mr. Matt Heino for the food service and Shanita. So she'll have various support to do the job. But the organizational part and getting things done, she'll do a great job. I also like to announce, as a replacement for Ms. Shaw, we will be bringing back to the district Ms. Lakeisha Davis, who served here as a third grade teacher, outstanding third grade teacher. We hated to see her leave, but now she's coming back on a recommendation from the elementary school to serve as our elementary school assistant principal. And she's also here tonight. And once approved, we will ask you two to come up, Ms. Dickinson and Ms. Davis, to say a few words to the board. And that's it. The other people are not here. We'll have them come to our next meeting so that you can meet them. But I just wanted to just share, and I'll tell you the truth. I have some people in the room who talk to me. I do take it personal when people leave, because I think we're doing a great job, and I don't like to see, but to see where people are going and the things they're doing, I think it's a testimony to our district, because people are taking our people to lead their districts. It's not that people are just leaving laterally, but they're getting promoted. We're small. We only have 3 schools at this time. We don't have a lot of upward movement for people. So we have to give people avenues to go. And I'm very pleased to see that people are going. And as we continue to grow people and people leave, then we have more people that we're preparing to take over. We have, for people in aspiring leadership programs. So those are people that are aspiring to be principals and AP. So they're in that process. We have teachers that's in training now, and that's a 5-year grant. So we're developing pathways for people to move. So with that, I said that's a testimony to the board for the work that we started here. Because in the past, people weren't taking our people to be superintendents, and middle school principals in 2 different districts. That wasn't happening. But now they're looking at our people as being very prepared and ready. And I think the work of our principal, I got one principal, Ms. Thompson, and preparing people to go to the next level, I think is a testimony to the district and the work that's being done.
Most
Mr.
definitely.
Jolly, 3.8, Stacy's last name is what?
It's on the next page.
Yeah,
On the next page?
Yeah.
Yeah, one over.
Ms.
we'll
McDaniel?
have her at the next meeting,
Okay.
but she'll be taking Roxanne's position.
Oh, okay.
Stacey McDaniel as the pre-K to 5 academic coordinator. And she'll be at the next meeting.
She's just transferring from one.
Yeah, that's another from another
Oh,
district.
McDaniel. Okay.
Okay, good.
The other 2 are from other districts coming in.
Oh, okay.
I will say it's exciting. There was a lot of work that went in, 6 years ago, when we built our 2020 plan, and talent management was one of our tenets. The board was so determined to make sure that we were able to grow from within, and to see that the team has done exactly what was asked. And to me, they've exceeded it, because to your point, we've now been able to grow people up from within, but now people are reaching into our district because they see the great work all of you guys have done, and they want to tap into what we've got, and they're bringing our folks in the leadership. And as they move them out, to Mr. Jolly's point, we're able to make room for people to move on up. So I say kudos to everybody for the great work that's been done to make this happen. So any more comments, thoughts? Dr. Rock,
You want the 2 ladies to come up?
please call the roll.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes. So at this point, Mr. Jolly, I'll let you say who comes first.
Yes, sir. We got Miss Dickinson and Miss Davis come up and just say a few words. Nothing long in particular. Just a few words. We appreciate it.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I would just like to say thank you for the opportunity. I am excited to move into this role. I have come back to the Cleveland area. I was in Phoenix for several years, and I knew I was coming back to Warrensville. I was come to Warrensville.
Okay.
On the CMSD, and I came to Warrensville because I liked the things that were going on here and the way that everyone was. So I'm excited to go into the math position. We have a new math curriculum that I sat on that team as well. We just received our materials today. I've already sat into a PD, so I'm really excited about what's happening and excited to really work with the teachers. So thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Hello.
Hello.
I just want to take this time to say thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm excited about what is to come. I left Warrensville, not really because I wanted to, but I needed space to grow. I needed to get some things in my tool belt, and so CMSC has definitely given me a lot of things in my tool belt. So I'm excited to come back here. The way things happen is just full circle. My kids will say, "Mom, don't cry." So I'm not. But I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be somewhere where things are happening and you can see the fruit of your labor. And to keep it confident, I have sang her praises for years. And it is humbling to me to be able to now work closely with her to continue to bring the vision to pass in Warrensville. So I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm excited about what's to come. And that's all I have. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
I do want to tell a short story because actually Miss Davis told me about Miss Thompson.
Oh, wow.
She did. She told me one day in the hallway, said, "You should look at this young lady that I know." And Miss Thompson came and interviewed and the rest is history. So we thank you, Ms. Davis, for giving us that heads up about Ms. Thompson, and you saw her potential, and you shared her with us. So we appreciate that.
Well, we are
Good
really
job.
looking forward to a great school year. So welcome aboard. Congrats on the move, and we're excited. All right, next on our agenda is item 4. If I can please have a motion to approve superintendent's recommendations and presentation for board action certificated staff, and that's going to be items 4.1 through 4.5.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept superintendent's recommendations and presentations for board action certified staff, 4.1 through 4.5.
Thank you, ma'am. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Board, is there any conversation on either of these items, or Mr. Jolly?
No, I don't have. Again, normal 4.5 is teacher contracts, limited contracts, and the rest of these are replacements for people that left, or 4.3. So we're just replacing staff members that have left,
Okay.
or new positions, but most of those are replacements.
Well, thank you, sir. If there's no further comments, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, board. If we can move on up to section 5, if we can please have a motion to approve superintendent's recommendations and presentations for board action classified staff, and this will be items 5.1 through 5.7.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move item number 5 on tonight's agenda, the superintendent's recommendation and presentation for board action classified staff. I'm looking for items 5.1 through 5.7.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Mr. Jolly, is there any additional conversation here?
No, none on these. Determination, that is one. Ms. Hunt sent the information about that. The rest of them are standard replacements also.
Okay. Board, any questions, comments on any of these?
I do have one, Madam Chair. Superintendent Jolly, we did replace and we beefed up our security staff, it looks like.
Yes, we're in the process of hiring security now. I believe that Mr. Retz will have probably 2 on the next agenda, possibly 3. There are interviews on Friday. There was interviews yesterday, so I believe we'll be ready to go. We'll be fully staffed beginning.
Awesome.
Thank you, Superintendent.
Thank you. Hearing nothing else, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Next on the agenda is section 6, superintendent's recommendations and presentations for personnel and programs. So if I can have an item for consent approval for items 6.1 through 6.7.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept superintendent's recommendations and presentations for personnel and programs, items 6.1 through 6.7.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any questions, comments on this section?
Yeah, so I want to talk about the STEAM Lab Instructor. We're currently we have a STEAM Lab at the elementary school, and then also we're building 2 additional STEAM labs. We really want to utilize those spaces effectively. Last year we had a system that it worked, but it wasn't the most successful or the most efficient or effective way. So this job description will allow us to hire someone who specializes in STEAM, science, who was creative, and who can supplement our teachers in a better way. We eventually will have one in each lab, so that each lab is manned by a STEAM lab instructor. Modeling after Hawken. Hawken has this type of position. The 6.2 is a coordinator of special projects. Our district has 1 million different projects, from the church to various different technology projects and so forth. This position would allow someone to really focus. I kind of spread them out, manage them all myself, but we definitely need a person to manage all these projects. We have a a lot of different projects that I manage and coordinate. But there's some real specialties that go into those. I just could talk about the church. The church, we have to basically we took over a building. Like today, I had to have somebody go over there and check the toilets and do all kind of things in there. It's a lot that goes with with all the new projects that we have. So this position will allow us to have someone coordinate those projects, and they will be continued because of all the things that we're doing with these new buildings for the next 3 to 5 years. So that student code of conduct, there's no major changes in student code of conduct at all. And last, the last 6.7 is the last piece to our high school trailers. This is the office area. We want this area to be like an isolated area with an office with the students or whoever we assign out there will have office space there and be out there. So in essence, what we're looking at is creating a freshman academy in the trailer area. So it'll be 5 classrooms, a principal, counselor, everything out there. What we did see this year, and I think I spoke to the board about it, the transition between 8 to 9 with the pandemic was tough. Those kids have been in 7th grade when the pandemic hit, or some in 7th grade when the pandemic happened. And then we took them from not going to school and put them in a big high school and told them to go for themselves. So it took a little longer for them to adjust. So this group that we already know in 8th grade, we know we have great kids, but the transition to high school, we have to do a way better job of not just throwing them to the wolves, but creating a safe space for them and then gradually release. And that's what our plan is, to safe place, gradually release. Our honor students they'll be in the regular school because they're going to be taking classes with the 10th and 11th graders because they're advanced and they would be in the regular school because we won't have their classes. They're already taking classes with the upperclassmen already. So with that, this would allow us to have an isolated area for our 9th grade students.
Cool.
And actually, this transition hasn't cost us as much as other school districts when they build new schools, and because we've been able to keep our kids in our normal schools. Like Cleveland Heights had to put a whole park together, and other people have to do different things, modify other buildings. We haven't had to do any modification of any building. We just moved the middle school into John Dewey. Over the years, they didn't lower the toilets or anything, so John Dewey fit the high school. We riding the high school out to the end. We just got to get rid of that science, the science wing. So this year, it's going to be a little uncomfortable at the high school with these 5 classes outside. It's not going to be a normal year. We just got to provide a lot of support for them, but we're doing it with spending limited amount of money. We're not overhauling something that's going to be torn down, and we're very cognizant of how much money we put into things that are being torn down. We don't want to. We fix things as necessary, but we're not going overboard on things because it's going to be torn down. So it's very exciting because next year this time we should be watching the high school get torn down. It has to be done by August. So between May, Memorial Day, in August, it got to be done with a parking lot. So we're going to see a lot of change next summer.
Okay.
We got this. Wow.
All right. With that, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. A lot of exciting things going on in Warrensville. We don't have any unfinished business, and board, I am going to offer a huge apology. I forgot that I had placed item 8.1 MSBA Cube Annual Conference on the agenda. It went on there like almost after our last board meeting. So, hearing everybody saying they want to take time to think about it, are we okay if we table this and move this into unfinished business for the July meeting?
Yes.
All right, so Dr. Rock, can you please note that? And the same with item 8.2.
We're gonna table that.
It'll be tabled.
Both
Yes,
of them.
ma'am. So I heard everybody loudly and clearly, and I do understand the need and the want to think about it. All right, well then, we're at item 9. Dr. Rock, do we have any correspondence? No correspondence. Mr. Jolly, any additional announcements?
No, ma'am.
All righty. Well, with that, we are going to come to section 11. And if we can please have a motion to adjourn the June 22nd regular board meeting, that would be greatly appreciated.
Madam Chair, excuse me, I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.
I make a break. I'm gonna say you can give me some gift cards, but I'm gonna do it.
Dr. Robert, you like to
Okay.
your back?
I go back.